Hi everybody, this is my recording for the end section of chapter 37 of The Handmaid's Tale, where Offred sees and speaks to Moira at Jezebel's. So, then I see her, Moira. She's standing with two other women near the fountain. I have to look hard, again, to make sure it's her. I do this in pulses, quick flickers of the eyes, so no one will notice. Now, of course, as is indicated by the kind of staccato rhythm of the sentences here, Moira is a hugely significant character for Offred. She's more alive in Offred's mind than Luke is, because obviously they were at the Red Centre together, and so we have all of these kind of links to this aliveness here, particularly with these pulses and this sense of her breathing having elevated as she experiences the excitement and apprehension of seeing Moira. She's dressed absurdly in a black outfit of once shiny satin that looks the worse for wear. There's a double meaning there, because obviously if someone looks the worse for wear, the kind of contemporary meaning is that they're a little bit drunk, or they are a kind of they are looking drunk. And then obviously this outfit on Moira, because of the role that she has at Jezebel's, is potentially also a little bit worse for wear. It's strapless, wide from the inside, pushing up the breasts. It doesn't quite fit Moira. And of course, that's both literally and metaphorically, because we know her sexual orientation, which means that she is being, driven to participate in actions that are things that do not fit her. Too large, so that one breast is pumped out and the other isn't. She's tugging absent-mindedly, pulling it up. There's a wad of cotton attached to the back. I can see it as she half turns. It looks like a sanitary pad that's been popped like a piece of popcorn. I realise it's supposed to be a tail. Attached to her head are two bunny ears of a rabbit or a deer. It's not easy to tell. One of the ears has lost its starch and wiring and is flopping halfway down. And of course, we know then that from this description that Moira is dressed specifically as a play girl or a Playboy bunny girl, and so this is this emblem then of the 1980s hedonistic, casual sexual culture of the Playboy mansions, and this kind of culture that was seen in 1980s America in kind of certain areas. We have this reference to Moira and casual heterosexual sex. Then we also have this idea that there is always a kind of sense of the ridiculous that's connected to Moira's character and the humour that's connected to her. So the tail looks like a sanitary pad, which is, kind of, it makes her seem silly. She has a black bow tie around her neck and is wearing black net stockings and black high heels. She always hated high heels, and of course the performative element of the kind of female sexuality in terms of entrapping men is something that Moira may well have rejected in it as her own orientation. It does not require that kind of performance. The whole costume, antique and bizarre, reminds me of something from the past, but I can't think what. A stage play, a musical costume, girls dressed for Easter in rabbit suits. What is the significance of it here? Why are rabbits supposed to be sexually attractive to men? How can this bedraggled costume appeal? And so we have this this kind of highly significant cultural icon of the play girl or the Playboy bunny girl. And it slipped out of Offred's memory because those cultural things have disappeared and they've become dated because of Gilead, but also to a certain extent they're dated in contemporary society for us as well. It's a it's a very uncomfortable image of former female kind of activity that people wouldn't necessarily kind of see as being particularly enlightened. And so we have then a stage play, a musical comedy, girls dressed for Easter in rabbit seats. It seems ridiculous, it seems almost amusing to Offred, and she can't see what the link is between girls dressed as bunnies and sexuality. Moira is smoking a cigarette. She takes a drag, passes it to the woman on her left, who's in red spangles with long pointed tail attached and silver horns, a devil outfit. Now she has her arms folded across her front, under her wired up breast. She stands on one foot, then the other. She must hurt. Her spine sags slightly. She gazes without interest or speculation around the room. This must be familiar scenery. So we have this other girl that's dressed in the devil outfit. Again, a kind of sexy Halloween-esque costume. And again, there are all of these links between the female body and sexuality and temptation. And then we have Moira's fidgeting as she moves from one foot to another, and the fact that she's physically uncomfortable despite however long she's been here. I will her to look at me, to see me, but her eyes slide over me as if I'm just another palm, another chair. And of course, we have this objectification of women as this kind of, as this normalcy within the regime. And then we have this bizarre kind of literal symbolism of the women in this place being as objects, that they kind of are no different here from the trees. And so we have this sense that no matter where Offred is, her uniform, whether it's her handmaid's uniform or the burlesque costume that she's wearing here, is the thing that kind of pushes her into the background and means that Moira's eyes at this first pass slip straight over her. Surely she must turn. I'm willing so hard. She must look at me before one of the men comes over to her, before she disappears. Already the other woman with her, the blonde in the short pink bed jacket with the tatty fur trim, has been appropriated. And appropriated there means taken. Often it means taken without permission. Has entered the glass elevator and ascended out of sight. Moira swivels her head around again, checking perhaps for prospects. It must be hard to stand there unclaimed, as if she's at a high school dance, being looked over. And of course we've got this this comparison to the real world scenario of being the one girl that no one else is inviting to do anything in a school social situation. And so to stand unclaimed, she senses that that's a kind of uncomfortable place for Moira to be in, although obviously we know that that's would be the preference, but we also don't know what the danger of that is at Jezebel's. This time her eyes snag on me. She sees me. She knows enough not to react. And so that sense that she's well trained to not communicate, to not react. We stare at one another, keeping our faces blank, apathetic. Then she makes a small motion of her head, a slight jerk to the right. She takes the cigarette back from the woman in red, holds it to her mouth, lets her hand rest in the air a moment, all 5 fingers outspread. Then she turns her back on me, our old signal. And that, of course, is the signal that they used with one another when they were in the Red Centre, and how they would sneak off to the toilets to have their conversation. I have 5 minutes to get to the women's toilets, to the women's washroom, which must be somewhere to her right. I look around, no sign of it, nor can I risk getting up and walking anywhere without the commander. I don't know enough, I don't know the ropes. I might be challenged. And we have at this moment this kind of this awareness. She's hyper aware of Fred here, of her lack of knowledge and her lack of experience of this particular element of the regime. A minute, two, Moira begins to saunter off, not glancing around. She can only hope I've understood her and will follow. The commander comes back with 2 drinks. He smiles down at me, places the drinks on the long black coffee table in front of the sofa. Sits. Enjoying yourself, he says. He wants me to. This, after all, is a treat. And of course, it's a treat for her to come out and have this experience of being kind of in this pseudo pre-Gilead America, this freedom. But we also know that there is going to be a cost to this treat for Offred. I smile at him. Is there a washroom, I say? Of course, he says. He sips at his drink. He does not volunteer directions. I need to go to it. I'm counting in my head now. Seconds, not minutes. This is how long she's got to get to Moira before Moira gives up on her. It's over there, he nods. What if someone stops me? Just show them your tag, he says. It'll be all right. They'll know you're taken. And she has obviously been appropriated already for the evening. That's what her tag. It's no different from the identity task that the handmaids have to carry. I get up, wobble across the room. I lurch a little, near the fountain, almost fall. It's the heels. Without the commander's arm to steady me, I'm off balance. And again, we have that both literally and metaphorically, this sense that he is kind of the one that's been guiding her through this new place, just as the regime creates those structures so that once they're taken away, because you're so indoctrinated and brainwashed, you have that measure, the kind of level of uncertainty. Several of the men look at me with surprise, I think, rather than lust. I feel like a fool. And of course we have that everything is about the show here. You know, she looks ridiculous because she's stumbling around. I take hold of my left arm conspicuously in front of me, bent at the elbow with the tag outwards. Nobody says anything. And that's the end of chapter 37.